So you don't actually have to be 21 to watch or consume these chicken nuggets, but the batter does contain vodka and beer, and it's actually for a cooking purpose. So as we learned from Kenji Lopez in the food lab, adding alcohol and beer to our batter is gonna do a couple important things. Oh, and if you don't wanna learn the why behind this stuff, the recipe starts right here.
Anyway, the carbonation in the beer instead of plain water will help leaven the batter, creating a more open texture once the bubbles of carbon dioxide expand when the nuggets are fried. Also, for beer specifically, it contains extra flavor compounds and carbohydrates that are going to aid in the browning of our nugget. What about the vodka, you may ask? Well, the vodka in the batter dehydrates quicker than water, so it will start browning and crisping faster. More importantly, Kenji says, replacing alcohol in the batter will limit gluten development. While great for bread doughs, if you have too much gluten development for a batter, you are going to end up with a hard and tough crust on your nugget instead of one that is light and crisp.
Okay, so now that we have a reason to imbibe in chicken nugget form, let's make these tasty numbers. And I'll show you guys how to make a zippy little horseradish honey mustard as well.
To start, we need to make our ground chicken filling. For me, I'm using 1 pound of boneless, skinless chicken thighs, and if you thought I was going to bust out a meat grinder or a food processor, nope, I'm chopping this ground chicken by hand. It only takes 5 or 6 minutes, and it's way easier to clean a knife than a food processor or meat grinder. Using a sharp knife, begin slicing the chicken into thin slivers. Now, if you don't want to ground the chicken, this method will also work with just sliced up chicken chunks. Or if you don't like chicken at all, you could use a piece of fish like cod or haddock and make some fried fish. Learning the method is the most important part. Now that it's into slivers, I'm going to cut across them into even smaller chunks, and I'm going to repeat this exact same process for each of the chicken thighs. With the thighs sliced up, I'm going to rock chop the chicken all over for a couple of minutes to get it even finer. When the chicken resembles a rough ground beef, we're going to add in some seasoning. Sprinkle 5 grams of salt over the chicken along with 3 grams of MSG and begin kind of mincing the meat together. And also, for those curious, MSG or monosodium glutamate provides umami and will enhance the meaty and savory taste of our chicken. To further incorporate the seasoning and help the chicken bind to itself, begin kneading and massaging the meat with your hands. This is similar to mixing sausage like in my kielbasa video. This mixing process is going to give us a tighter bind in the final chicken nugget. You're going to want to massage the chicken for about a minute or so. At this point, the chicken should stick together when squished in your hand. For me, this looks pretty good, and it took just over 6 minutes in total to make ground chicken by hand, so it's really not as laborious as you may think. Now grab a sheet of wax paper and place it on a baking sheet and begin forming the ground chicken into nugget shapes. And you can feel free to make these as big or small as you want. For me, they're definitely a little bit on the bigger side. Nice and meaty chicken nuggets are always a winner in my book. And if you guys wanted to add spices to the ground chicken before forming them, you can feel free to. But for these, I really just wanted the salt and the MSG to really bring out that meaty chicken flavor. With all of the nuggets formed, pop these in the fridge while we prepare the batter and the fry station. First, set a wok on the stove and pour in some peanut oil for frying. If you want to know why I'm using the wok and peanut oil, I explained that in my double down video, so you guys can check that out if you want to. And you're just going to set this over medium-low heat while we prepare the batter. To a large bowl, add 100 grams of flour, 25 grams of cornstarch, 5 grams of baking powder, 5 grams of salt, 1 gram of cayenne pepper, 1 gram of garlic powder, and 1 gram of smoked paprika. And you're just going to gently mix that together. Now in a separate measuring cup, add 8 ounces of beer and 1.5 ounces or a shot of vodka, and you're just going to set both of those aside. In a separate bowl, add another 50 grams of flour. Now you're going to get the chicken nuggets out of the fridge and just drop those plain nuggets into the flour and toss them until they are evenly coated. Then you can place them on a wire rack over a baking sheet, and we'll set that aside as well. Back to our batter. Now slowly pour the beer mixture into the spiced flour mixture, and you're going to gently whisk this together. Be careful not to over mix the batter, as that will cause the gluten development, which remember is bad for frying. It's okay if there are a few lumps of flour, and in my test I liked it when the batter was much thinner like this, though if you do want it a little bit thicker, you can use less of the alcohol mixture. With the batter ready, let's head to the stove. Before we fry, make sure the temperature of the oil is around 350 degrees Fahrenheit. Now, working in small batches, take the floured nuggets and dip them in the batter to coat both sides. You're going to let the excess batter drip from the nuggets and then gently lower them into the oil. I would probably only do 5 or 6 at a time in total. You're going to fry these until they are nice and golden brown and crispy all over. Mine took about 4 to 5 minutes, and then you're going to move the fried nuggets to the paper towel. Verify that the internal temperature is at least 160 degrees Fahrenheit. Then you're going to immediately hit those nuggets with a nice sprinkle of salt and dab the excess oil off and move up to the wire rack portion. You're going to repeat this exact process until all of the nuggets are done. Also, another little pro tip while you're frying, in between batches of nuggets, make sure you strain off that excess batter that ended up fried so it doesn't start to burn, which will start splatters and make your kitchen smell more like fried oil. So with all the nuggets fried up, and before we slice into those and just absolutely start devouring them, let's make a quick horseradish honey mustard dipping sauce. So in a bowl, add 2 spoonfuls of mayo, 2 spoonfuls of Dijon mustard, 1 spoonful of horseradish, and about 1 spoonful of honey. And you're just going to mix that until it is well combined, and now we can get back to our nuggets. So if we take a look at those nuggets, they're beautifully golden brown and crispy on the outside, but that crust is crispy, but it's really light at the same time. Additionally, when you slice into one, you can see that nice kind of tight bind that we have from our ground chicken, and again, that's because of that kneading and massaging of the meat from earlier. And once you dip these into that spicy horseradish honey mustard mayo, I mean, you are absolutely going to kill for these. These are some chicken nuggets for grown-ups.
All right, everybody, full recipe will be linked down below to my website where I'll have the step-by-step process so you guys can make these for yourselves. And I would highly, highly suggest it. These, oh my gosh, I don't even know how to describe just how unique like the fry with that batter is. They're super light, but still really crispy. And I mean, you guys saw in the video like how just like they're thick and they're juicy. It tastes like you're eating real chicken, like it's juicy like that from the thighs, but then you get the crispiness of the crust. I mean, it absolutely like tickles your childhood memories, but is this completely new form and texture that, I mean, McDonald's or Burger King or wherever you get your chicken nuggets cannot even get close to replicating. But that's gonna wrap it up for this video. I'll catch you in the next one. Gonna try not to eat the rest of this plate, and peace.